ProHealth Care has a rich history. We've come a long way since our doors first opened in 1914. We've progressed from a 7-bed hospital to a vibrant and innovative healthcare system offering a full spectrum of services. Over the years, one thing has never changed: our commitment to continually improve health care for our community. As we celebrate our centennial, we recognize the people who have made our remarkable journey possible, the people who tell our story best, the people of our community.
The first Monday of the month at 8 o'clock in the morning, a group of retired nurses from Waukesha Memorial get together for breakfast. You could see me working out in my yard, and she'd call me to come to work. Mostly we're all night people that work nights at the hospital. It is like family because we all know one another so well. We talk about a lot of things. Sometimes gossip. I started at Waukesha Memorial, now ProHealth, during World War II. I started with the Red Cross Nurses Aides. I knew my husband would be going into service. Waukesha Memorial Hospital looked a lot different than it does today. At that time, we thought it was the most beautiful place in the world. I worked, to begin with, OB. That was fun. I worked in the nursery, and then I went to pediatrics, which I loved because I loved the kids. And we were family. If they needed help, someone didn't show up, someone was ill, you just went to another floor and worked. I think everybody did what they could do. All 4 of my children worked at Waukesha Memorial Hospital sometime in their life. Sometimes we'd go to work at the same time. There's something awfully good about getting up in the morning and being needed somewhere, I think. I worked at the hospital for 50 years. I was 80 when I retired, and maybe that's why I retired. Today, everybody came out in the cold weather. They wanted to be there. We all grew up together. To me, it was an enjoyable time of my life. I'm just happy to have been a part of it all these years. I can really say that with pride.
This is when he hit 2 pounds after Christmas in his little hands. I was 25 weeks pregnant when we started having complications. Then the decision was made that I had to deliver. His life was in jeopardy, and so was mine. It was a whirlwind. I got prepared for my emergency C-section, and about 12 hours later, I finally came to and found out I had a 1 pound 3 ounce baby. He was just the most beautiful baby I've ever seen. The care was phenomenal. The nurses were fantastic. I really leaned on them a lot. They had me involved almost from day one, changing his diapers, doing small things. The things that you wouldn't think are a big deal was huge to me. They got me involved right away, so I felt like a parent. When he was 10 days old, Dominic had to have a heart surgery. And I remember being in the waiting room and just bawling, and a nurse came next to me and just embraced me and hugged me. And at that point, no words would have comforted me. It was the hug, it was her touch, it was her just being there with me. Dominic's a normal 7-year-old boy who loves to fight with his brother and play with Legos, and he's in 1st grade. He's doing great. You would never know looking at him today that he was a preemie. I can't imagine being at a different hospital. My family was born at Waukesha. My brother, myself, my dad, my boys. When I go back to the NICU and I walk down the hallway and I see his picture and all the other babies' pictures, I just think how far they've all come.
How are you? It's so great to see you.
It's great to see the nurses. They're like family. The NICU was so great to me that I want to give back. I want to help other families. 'Twas the night before Christmas when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. A tradition I started when Dominic was in the NICU over Christmas was I read the night before Christmas. That's a tradition that the nurses still remember. So we started getting Christmas books, and we all signed. We drove out of sight. Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night.
That was an awesome book.
Did you like that book?
We have 3 mental health clinics, one devoted just working with children that have been abused and have some trauma in their lives. It takes a lot of highly skilled therapists to really have them realize that they can remove the barriers and become much more functioning. We've partnered with ProHealth for well over 2 decades. In 2006, we created the Child Advocacy Resource and Development Center, and they were a partner. It was a community-wide response of how to address child abuse in this community. Prior to having a resource center of this nature, children had to go to the hospital to report, then they had to go to the county social services, then they had to go to the court, or they had to go someplace else to tell this story over and over again. Now the child comes to the Care Center for Forensic Interviews and really need to tell this story one time, which is a tremendous benefit to these children. We have clinics that work with adult patients, just a variety of those issues that make them really not be able to go on with their lives. ProHealth has certainly moved beyond the hospital walls to help this community. If we didn't come together to address the critical needs, I think it would be a gap for the community. ProHealth strongly believes in working hand in hand with community partners because it truly makes a difference.
I think the most important thing that we learned, not only from my dad, but also from my mom, is just the value of compassion.
What my dad enjoyed the most about his job was the ability to take care of people and change people's lives.
It was easy to see that he really loved what he did.
As the Foxes growing up went to work with our dad, all of our children have been exposed to Waukesha Memorial Hospital, and they call it the hospital just like we called it the hospital.
I think the 4 of us that ended up in healthcare, there was this deep sense of appreciation of what he did. I joined my dad's practice in general and vascular surgery. My older brother Paul is an interventional radiologist.
My youngest sister Annie is a nurse practitioner, and she actually works with me. Then, of course, there's my wife, Mary, who's an ear, nose, and throat surgeon, and she's been working at Waukesha as long as I have.
My sister Margaret, who was also a nurse at ProHealth, and I were working together. We were getting a patient back from surgery, and she said, "Oh, I just had the neatest experience. I was just operated on by brothers." And we looked at each other and smiled and laughed and said, "You're never going to believe this, but we're their sisters." So she laughed and thought maybe she was still under anesthesia.
The opportunity to work with him was something that I realize now was a treasure.
It was an honor to do that, to be part of that with him.
What I learned from my dad is how important it is to be present with your patients. I think that it takes a really special touch, a caring hand, a look. When I think about the next generation of my kids and my nieces and nephews, I think it's pretty remarkable, and it's a great legacy that my dad left behind. If my dad could see us all here now, he would be incredibly proud.
Our deepest appreciation to all those who have given their time, talents, and resources to this amazing organization. Because of you, our future is bright.